Welcome back. Today I have another strategy test, and this is a strategy from Trading Nerds. I'll leave a link in the description where you can find this original video from Trading Nerds. As you can see from the thumbnail, it promises to double your account balance in 2 days, and it uses a modified RSI and a moving average. So the indicators are a 50-period EMA, the Laguerre RSI with alpha equal to 0.1, and I'll come back to the Laguerre RSI in a moment, and ATR bands with a 14-period ATR and a multiplier of 2. Now, when I ran the tests, I don't actually use an ATR bands indicator because the ATR bands is simply a multiple of the ATR away from a central point. So all I did was use the ATR inside my expert and then add the multiplier to that. Now to the Laguerre RSI. This is a highly modified RSI. In fact, the algorithm for it seems nothing like the original RSI. If you want to search the internet, you can find some descriptions. Here is one that talks about how the Laguerre RSI is calculated. If we look at a chart with a Laguerre RSI, you can see that the Laguerre tends to stay at the top and bottom of the chart more. A traditional RSI meanders from high to low and doesn't usually reach the extremes of 100 or 0, where the Laguerre actually hits these extremes and then moves rather quickly between them. Sometimes it'll bounce around, as you can see here, but then it tends to go to the other side fairly quickly. So it's used to detect those extremes more than the standard RSI. Now the Laguerre RSI doesn't come with MetaTrader. We're in MetaTrader 4 or 5. So there is a link in the original video from Trading Nerds where you can download. It has a couple of disadvantages. It's MT4 only and there are some differences, and I'll come back to that. You can do a web search and you'll find some Laguerre RSI available for download. Be careful though, because when I tried that, I found some that requested that I enable DLLs before I could run the indicator, and the algorithm in the indicator does not need a DLL, so I would be very cautious about enabling DLLs for those indicators. And I also have my own version of the Laguerre RSI, which when I compared my code to the code that is downloaded from Trading Nerds, it's very similar, which makes sense given that we're using the same algorithm. But there are some modifications in mine, and I'll just talk about those now. So this is a screenshot from the version of the Laguerre RSI that you can download from Trading Nerds. It is only available for MetaTrader 4, so if you're using MetaTrader 5, you would have to either do the conversion or download the copy from the Orchard website. You'll also notice that I've got the inputs up here, and there is an input for the gamma of a 0.9 here. In the strategy, it talks about using an alpha of 0.1. So don't be confused and don't simply enter a 0.1 here where it says gamma. It is a different value, and we'll get to that in a moment as well. The other thing you can see on the right hand side here is that the Laguerre RSI downloaded from Trading Nerds ranges from 0 to 1, where the strategy talks about ranging through levels of 20 and 80. So it simply hasn't had a 100 multiplier applied to it here. Also something that's been modified in the Orchard Forex version. Now back to the gamma and alpha. There is a formula for converting gamma and alpha, and the formula is that alpha equals 1 minus gamma. So if you're using the Trading Nerds version and it's asking for a gamma and you want to enter a 0.1 as the alpha, simply enter 0.9 as the gamma. And if we apply a little bit of advanced mathematics, we can actually come up with the reverse formula for this, which is that gamma equals 1 minus alpha. And gamma and alpha are simply multiplying factors that are used inside the formula. You can review the trading rules on the original video, and as I said, there is a link in the description where you can find that video, but I've summarized the rules here. We buy when the Laguerre RSI crosses the 20 line from below, if the price closes above the 50 EMA, and then set the stop loss below the ATR band, and the stop loss to take profit ratio is 1 to 1.5. Selling rules are just the opposite. We sell when the Laguerre RSI crosses the 80 line from above. If the price closes below the 50 EMA, set the stop loss above the ATR band, and the stop loss to take profit ratio is still 1 to 1.5. Exiting the trades, obviously on a take profit or a stop loss. We also exit the trade if the Laguerre RSI crosses the opposite level. So if we're in a buying trade, we buy when the Laguerre RSI has crossed the 20 from below, we will then close that trade if the Laguerre RSI crosses the 80 line. And if we're in a sell trade, we'll close the sell if the Laguerre RSI crosses the 20 line. But we'll also close the trade if the Laguerre RSI reverses and crosses back across the same level. So for a buy trade, if it's crossed the 20 line, we would have entered the trade, but then if it crosses the 20 line again from above and goes back below 20, we would close that trade. And the same for a sell trade. If we've entered the trade because the RSI has crossed the 80 line from above, and then if the RSI moves back above 80, we would close that trade. Now, there is a certain amount of ambiguity about that, and I'll just get to the ambiguous trading rules now. The first ambiguous trading rule is to skip high volume candlesticks. There's no actual definition in the video of what is a high volume candlestick, so I've chosen to set a limit in my expert of 2 times the ATR. So if a particular candlestick is 2 times the ATR or greater, then I won't take a trade on that candlestick. The other is that if the Laguerre RSI retreats, and as I just said, if we've entered a buy trade because it's come from below and then it goes back below the 20, then the strategy says to wait a few hours. So I've added a delay into the expert of 180 minutes if the Laguerre RSI retreats back across the 20 or the 80 line. So here are my chart settings for the test. I'm using the MT5 platform. I don't think that makes any difference whether I use MT4 or MT5, but I'm just mentioning that I have written this expert for the MT5 platform. I'm running the 1 minute time frame as the original strategy requests. I normally run these tests for a 2-year period, but given this is a 1 minute chart, I've shortened that, and I'm only running over 6 months from the 1st of November 2022 to the 1st of May 2023. I'm using 6 symbols: Bitcoin USD, Australian dollar USD, Euro USD, Pound USD, Dollar Yen, and Euro Pound. So I'm covering 4 common primary foreign exchange. I'm covering 1 cross in the Euro GBP, and I'm also using Bitcoin because the original strategy was tested against Bitcoin, although the original strategy was tested against USDT, and I simply don't have that available on the MetaTrader platform. I have also reduced the amount risked on each trade. The original strategy said that the trade would risk 1% of equity. I found that by doing that, because this is a 1 minute chart, many of the take profit and stop loss were quite close to the entry point, and that meant that I had quite large lot sizes, and those lot sizes were causing some problems in terms of the margin required, which meant that a lot of my trades were simply failing. So I've reduced the percentage of risk to 0.2%. That won't have any impact on whether a trade is successful or not, because I'm not changing the size of the stop loss or take profit in distance from the entry point, but it will affect the amount that I'm winning or losing on each trade. So now let's run the tests on these 6 symbols and then come back and see the results. Now, here are the results from those tests, and I'll have to say that it has taken me some time to produce this video simply because these results are so bad compared to the promise in the original video. I was looking for some area where I may have made a significant error, but I cannot find one. So perhaps some of the assumptions that I've made on those ambiguous trading rules were incorrect, but I could not come up with anything that was even moderately profitable compared to the original strategy. And as you can see here, over 6 months, a significant number of trades, because we are trading on a 1 minute chart, the win to loss ratio, I generally lose 2 to 1. And even though my win is a 1.5 to 1 take profit to stop loss ratio, that's a significant number of losses. And as you can see from the profits there, a significant loss, even trading at a 0.2% risk level. And if you were watching the charts as I was running the tests, you would see that the charts tended to flatten out. That's simply because 0.2% is becoming a smaller amount of loss as time goes on. But now I also note that by running this on a 1 minute chart, I'm open to fluctuations in pricing, which could be causing this to lose more often than it should. So I'm going to run this again on a 60-minute chart. I'm not making any changes to the settings. I'm even leaving this at a 0.2% risk, but I'm going to run the same symbols and just change to a 60-minute chart over the same 6-month time frame. And now here are the results from a 60-minute time frame, and you can see that it is significantly different. Obviously a lot less trades, because running on 60 minutes I'm not going to come up with as many signals. The win to loss ratio in terms of number of trades is roughly even, and because I have a 1.5 to 1 take profit to stop loss ratio, most of these symbols have returned a profit. I have a small loss for the Euro GBP and a loss for the Bitcoin USD. If I add all of these together, so if I were running this as a portfolio, I would be in front. Now, remember, I'm still only trading 0.2%. I could probably trade a larger percentage because that margin problem that I have wouldn't be as significant because I'm running on a 60-minute time frame, and therefore the stop loss and the take profit are further away. But this strategy does have the potential to be profitable on a higher time frame, although given that this is over 6 months and we're looking at profits of the order you can see here, it is not significantly profitable. And so these are my results. As you can see from the note there, the complete results, including all the tables produced by MetaTrader on the backtest, are available on our website, and there is a link in the description to the website. On that page you'll also find a link where you can download the Laguerre RSI indicator, and that will be a download for both MetaTrader 4 and 5. So I hope this has been useful to you. If it has, please click that like button, and if you want to see more of our videos, click subscribe and then click the bell icon to be notified when we release new videos. Thank you for watching.